If you're watching this, you probably have an air conditioning system and a heating system because most of us do, especially if you're in this part of the country. So I have asked my friend Brandon Day to join me from Daycool Heating and Air to talk to me about how often you should get your air conditioning and heating system serviced. Hey, Brandon, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for asking. So some people don't get their system serviced, their air conditioning and heating system, much like some people have a car and they never get their oil changed.
I
Some
like those
people,
people.
yeah. So I know why you like them because they call with an emergency call and you
Right,
go out
that's what,
there and then you have to fix it. But that's really not the right solution, right? We don't want to go to the dentist to find out that we have a bunch of holes in our teeth. We should try to go on a regular basis to the physician, to the dentist, get your oil changed and fluids changed. And the same thing for your air conditioning system, right?
right.
Yeah. So how often?
We recommend at least every 6 months, depending on, for the normal residential consumer. There's certain situations where you might need to do it quarterly.
Hmm.
You need to change your filter more often than that. But as far as checking everything out, like we have our 247 club where everything's automated. They text you and it calls you. You don't have to worry with anything, but it's every 6 months. We have certain clubs, businesses, people that have a lot of foot traffic through their home, or what have you, want to change filters often or have everything checked more often. So that is just uh, a want, maybe, depending on how much your doors are open or this, that, and the other, sucking in dust in the home. But at minimum, we check all the stuff every 6 months, try to kind of like going to Jiffy Lube. When
Hmm.
you get everything checked, we do a physical of the system so we can try to find something that might be an issue for you before it is an issue and you're caught with your pants down with a big repair.
Yeah. And for all of you who are watching this and listening to this, it's generally a fall and a spring. And
Yeah.
you can put it on your calendar, but at Daycool, they can put you on a calendar as well and get you scheduled on a regular basis. What's nice about having you guys come out twice a year is that if on one of those checks you see there's an issue, you can then get it remedied at that point. So on the hottest day in August, you don't have a failure or is likely to have a failure because you guys already maybe saw it in the springtime and you
Right.
actually addressed it then. There shouldn't be surprises. Now, every once in a while, there's going to be because you just don't know. It's kind of like a human where you go to the doctor for your checkup and you have a stroke and drop dead. It can happen, right? So anything could break at any point in
Yeah.
time. But if you maintain things on a regular basis, you can see some stuff coming. And one of the things is people may not realize that the refrigerant has dropped a little bit and you can charge that up. And if you're charging it up, there's probably a problem, right?
It's
Especially if you have to
definitely a
do it.
problem.
Yeah.
Definitely. That was going to
So
be a good example that I gave you. Is in winter, we still check for refrigerant leaks
mhm.
so that we can tell you before comes summer and customers calling us going, why didn't you tell me that this was an issue when you were last here? But a lot of people don't even check the cooling systems in the heating season.
Yeah, and it's best really to check it when you can kind of push it. So if it's cold outside, it's kind of really hard to do the best check. But what happens a lot is in the coils, and coils aren't what they used to be. Years ago, they were built better. I swear to goodness they were. And you get these pinholes. That's often where the problem's going to be.
Yep.
And it's not always a huge problem. Sometimes you know real quick that you got a problem. Other times it's like it could be a teeny hole, and sometimes that can be fixed, right? And sometimes you just have to replace the coil. Are there times where you can actually go in and fix that, or do you always replace that coil?
Pretty rare that you can nowadays between the
Yeah.
tubes being super thin or aluminum. You're not going to solder aluminum.
Yeah.
But typically, like an evaporator coil, you just replace it. If it's a condenser coil and it's copper, you kind of can get in there and do it. But usually, when a system's to that point, it's sometimes not worth the expense of trying to repair it.
Yeah, the evaporator coils, I really don't think are built as well as they used to, and they seem to fail a lot, and they're not that inexpensive, but it's a pretty easy repair. You just take the whole
Right.
thing out and it's done. You put a new one in. It just seems like a big piece of the unit that has to be taken out and replaced. It's too bad they fail so much, but that's often where the failure is.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of it has to do with the off gassing of these products in the homes and such. That's why you see it more and more. That's why they've gone to aluminum coils, because it was eating up copper. What's that tell you about your health? That's why you gotta have a good indoor air quality solution as well. But carpets, off gassing, couches, sheetrock, that's what eats coils up.
Wow. I did not know that. That
Yeah.
is good.
Formicary corrosion is what it's called.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is go outside and get some fresh air, everybody, because your indoor air quality is very questionable. And I'm going to get Brandon back on the radio program to talk about indoor quality very shortly. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Mr. Daycool.
Daycool with Daycool.